Etitano nalikaleli wa mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani klekwas vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Aina Raiza Kweyo. How are you, Aina?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. It's a Friday.
It is a finally.
Yes, indeed.
All right, here are the stories making headlines. Tens of thousands flee Somaliland into drought-hit Ethiopia. Brazil to resume visa requirements for US, Japan, Australia, and Canada. Cyclone Freddy on its way back to Mozambique and will bypass SA. We will also be chatting to Master Mike Sichula all the way in Zambia to give us an update on everything that is happening in his homeland.
I think Namco is changing the game.
The service at Namco is amazing.
Fast and friendly.
Always ready to cater to you.
Use them often when we do our trips.
Namco is the one.
In our top stories this morning, tens of thousands flee Somaliland into drought-hit Ethiopia. An estimated around 100,000 people have fled fighting in Somalia's breakaway Somaliland region into a remote drought-hit area in Ethiopia, UN and Ethiopian refugee agencies said on Monday, citing authorities in Dulo, located in the southeastern tip of the country, more than 1,300 kilometers from the capital Addis Ababa, and UN Refugees Agency said it believes that more than 98,000 people have crossed the border since the 6th of February. Tens of thousands flee Somaliland into dry-hit Ethiopia, an Ethiopian government agency which has started registering the arrivals, told reporters. This is an area that is lacking infrastructure and social development and of course coped with the drought that has lasted for 4 years, but they have shown us that we can still be considerate to others, continued saying Tas Fehun. Even before we were able to arrive, they were the ones who were sheltering them in their homes, who were sharing minimum food that they are having. So far, 29,000 refugees have been registered, according to Mahmoudi Dayan, the UNHCR representative in Ethiopia. These numbers are growing and growing and growing, she said. They are adding that they were women and children mostly.
Now, Brazil has decided to resume entry visa requirements for citizens of the US, Japan, Australia, and Canada, two sources familiar with the matter told Reuters on Wednesday. The country's foreign ministry, known as Itamarate, is set to announce the decision on Thursday to the governments of the four countries. Brazil's government will later publicly announce the measure. The decision suspends a unilateral decision that former President Jair Bolsonaro's government made in June 2019 to facilitate tourism. Brazilians still need visas to travel to the four countries. A diplomatic source said the 2019 decision to lift visa requirements had weakened Brazil's ability to negotiate with those countries. Now, the number of tourist arrivals from the US will represent a small fraction of tourists in Brazil in 2022 was still below 2018 figures. Meanwhile, the number of Japanese tourists fell in 2019 by 4.5% and only 17,000 visited Brazil in 2022.
In our next story, Cyclone Freddy on its way back to Mozambique, and it will bypass South Africa. South Africa will not be affected by Cyclone Freddy, which was on its way back to Mozambique for a second time after it regained momentum in Madagascar at the beginning of this month. Vox weather forecast Annette Botha said yesterday Cyclone Freddy was currently no threat to South Africa. If the system moves inland, the weakening extreme tropical depression could bring some heavy rain to Malawi and Zimbabwe. She said the cyclone may not be done yet after hitting Mozambique a second time, as long-range projections suggest that the storm could intensify again after re-emerging over the sea. World Meteorological Weather Organization and Climate Extremes Rapporteur Professor Randall Seveny said four people have died in Madagascar due to the latest rain, bringing Freddy's death toll to at least 21 people, of which 10 died in Mozambique and 11 in Madagascar.
Now, the World Health Organization has terminated the contract of its powerful Western Pacific Regional Director Takeshi Kasai following staff accusations of abusive and racist behavior, a diplomatic source said on Wednesday. The WHO Executive Board called a two-day closed-door special session at its Geneva headquarters to discuss the case of Japanese Dr. Kasai, who was suspended after allegations first surfaced in January 2022. A WHO letter said the decision was made after careful consideration. Now, while the WHO did not say what the recommendation was, another diplomatic source told AFP that the Manila meeting had called for Kasai to be dismissed. The vote was very close, 13-11. Headquartered in Philippines' capital, the WHO's Western Pacific region covers almost 1.9 billion people across 37 territories. Now, the staff who wished to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation accused him of making derogatory remarks to staff of certain nationalities, in particular local Filipinos. They sent an email to member states on the WHO's 34-country executive board. In the email seen by AFP, the staff accused Kasai of abusive and racist authoritarian leadership.
Now, in our next story, Nigerian election court rejects opposition demand to inspect vote machines. A Nigerian court on Wednesday allowed election authorities to reconfigure machines used in last month's disputed presidential election, rejecting an opposition demand to inspect them beforehand for forensic evidence of what they say was massive tampering. The legal ruling was the first volley in what is expected to be a long legal battle over Nigeria's 25 February election, which saw all ruling progressive candidate Bola Tinubu declared the winner. Tinubu, a former Lagos governor, won 8.8 million votes in the race to succeed President Muhammadu Buhari, with main opposition PDP's Atiku Abubakar at 6.9 million and a surprise third challenger Labour Party Peter Obi at 6.1 million. But huge delays in voting and widespread problems uploading results through BVAS biometric machines from polling station to a central database foiled opposition claims of ballot rigging. Obi, a former governor, filed to prevent the Independent National Electoral Commission from reconfiguring BVAS machine to give his team a chance to inspect them.
Now, the opposition party in Tanzania is not quite as perturbed as the one in Nigeria, considering that for the first time in Tanzania's history, the president attended the International Women's Day event organized by the main opposition party, Chadema. President Samia Suluhu Hassan's presence was welcomed by Chadema chairman Freeman Mbowe, who said it was the fruit of meetings aimed at achieving reconciliation. Ms. Samia, who addressed thousands at the meeting, said that reconciliation was ongoing in Tanzanian politics and that some steps had already been taken, meanwhile others were in progress, including the finding of a new constitution. Now, she is Tanzania's first female president, having taken office following the death of John Magufuli in 2021. That brings us to the end of our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Successful brain surgery in Zambia. Mike Suchela will be talking to us about that after the break.
I usually don't drive this car around. It's a standing base. I fill up my car for 850, which that gave me a full tank. I used to use this car between Rebot and Windhoek. Yeah, once you reach home in Rebot, it's almost a half tank. It's from Windhoek to Ketmas. That is the longest I have driven with this baby. I think NAMCO is changing the game because their service is very organized, clean. Even their takeaway department, NAMCO is the one. There's no country like Namibia. Namibia is a very beautiful country. That's why I'm part of it.
I usually fill up about 2 tanks a week. A tank of fuel costs me about 140 to 150 Namibian dollars. I was very fortunate that a couple of my friends and I went to Tsumeb for the day, slept over, and then we rode back the next day. I found the service at the Namco service stations to be quite fast and friendly, which is really nice, especially when we're on the open road and we want to get to our next destination. What makes me proud Namibian is the fact that we've got all these lovely wide open spaces. And although we are from all different backgrounds, we can all get together and we can have a great time.
We'll now be talking to Mike Sichula in Zambia as he brings us the news on the ground, starting with a team of medical doctors at university teaching hospitals led by a Chinese surgeon last week successfully conducted a brain surgery. Mike Sichula, good morning. Take it away.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Africa. Good morning to our viewers. Yes, indeed, UTH Senior Medical Superintendent, Dr. Charles Muntemba, revealed that the operation was first of its kind in the country last week, where he said this is something that the Zambia medical team has been working in partnership with their colleagues from China to see how the university teaching hospitals can become a tourism hub in terms of medical provision. So this brain surgery that was done is the first, which Dr. Mutemba said such operations help in cutting down costs, because in the past the country has been exporting patients needing such treatment abroad, which has been costly on the national treasury. So it is hopeful that this surgery that has taken off is one of its kinds that is going to ensure that the medical health center begins to do more of such operations.
All right, now, Mike, we understand that 3 women have been arrested because of the gay march that was held in Lusaka last week. Tell us about this.
Yes, at least 3 women have been arrested. Those who are reported to be the directors of the Sister Foundation Zambia. However, the arrest, which happened last week, has been condemned by the U.S. Embassy in Zambia. The United States Embassy in Zambia has condemned the arrest of the Sister Foundation co-founder and 3 others following their recent march past. Police, in a statement, did indicate that the organizers of this foundation provided false information before the police officer, which is a crime in Zambia if you present false information. False information is coming about in the sense that the organizers of this march past told police that they are going to march against gender-based violence and other issues that are affecting women. However, during their march past, their agenda changed to the promotion of gay rights, which is homosexuality, which is a crime in Zambia. So those are the 2 charges that these are having: the issues of providing false information and also promoting homosexuality, which is a crime in Zambia. So we are hopeful that this case is going to take a different approach, considering that the United States has condemned this act, and also Zambia is expected to receive the Vice President of the United States of America this month. And you know, the United States of America is a strong promoter of homosexuality. So it is one of those events that are going to be one of the highlights as the Vice President of America touches into Zambia this month.
All right. Well, I mean, I personally, hope for the safety and release of those ladies, but I am curious, how often does Zambia condemn anything in the United States? Moving on. In business news, Zambia Airways is expected to start flying into South Africa in the second quarter of this year. Tell us about that, Mike.
Yes, the Zambian Airways, which is co-owned by the Zambian government and the Ethiopian airline, has acquired an additional aircraft for its South African route after being granted a foreign operator permit. The airline is further expected to commence scheduled flights into South Africa in the second quarter of this year using the newly acquired Boeing 737-800. Transport and Logistics Minister Frank Tayari has reviewed this development in South Africa, where he said having Zambia Airways extending its tentacles into South Africa is a positive development for the country, as this will mean more business for the airline company.
All right, we understand that Fashion Sakala was voted Man of the Match. Tell us more about this.
Yes, Fashion Sakala, Zambia's export to Glasgow Rangers in Scotland, underwent some bad time in the league when he was not having much time, but he has pushed himself such that now he is a regular feature in the team. Fashion Sakala in Europe, so far he has got 34 assists, 52 goals, and 58 other assists. So it means Fashion Sakala, during this match against Haukli, he scored and also he provided an assist, something that his coach has said Fashion Sakala is an unplayable player, is more or less a very dependable player for Glasgow Rangers. This is coming at a time when Zambia is preparing to face Lesotho on the 23rd of March, and also a week later in Lesotho. So meaning Coach Avram Gant, the Choproporo national team coach, is having an option of players to choose from, because Fashion Sakala is on fire, and also other Zambian players based in Tanzania and other European countries are also good. So it is something that Lesotho should watch out when the two teams face each other in the next 2 weeks.
Indeed, and I have to be honest, when you say that Zambia will be playing, my heart, I was like, please let it not be Zimbabwe, let it not. It said Lesotho, I said, because we are not ready for Fashion Sakala. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the news stories from Zambia.
Thank you very much. Do have a lovely weekend. Africa, good morning.
Africa, good morning indeed. But to be honest, there's Peter Shalile as well. Namibia can also. No, but fashion is doing too much. We'll think about that
Never
later.
mind.
While we're figuring that out, let's have a look at the weather predictions.
In our economic news this morning, Kenya freezes milk powder importation amid drought. Kenya has imposed an indefinite ban on milk powder imports to caution local processors and farmers from surplus production and low prices in anticipation of the long rains. The rainy season is expected to improve fonda production and significantly boost local milk production, hence reducing the need for imports. The Kenya Dairy Board said it would continue to monitor the production and demand dynamics of the commodity before lifting the ban. The board has also suspended the issuance of the imports permit. The move is seen to go against the East African Community Free Trade Agreement on free movement of goods and services and the common market.
Now, the growth in Mozambique's real gross domestic product is forecast to accelerate for an estimated 4.1% in 2022 to 6.5% in 2023, largely as a result of activity in the new liquefied natural gas sector. And this is according to Fitch Solutions, a consultancy agency in the financial field. Now, Fitch also believes that the Bank of Mozambique will hold its benchmark interest rate at the current 17.25% for the rest of the year, and that the exchange rate of about 64 meticais to the US dollar will remain stable. All right, that brings us to the end of our economic news. Next up, it's indicators, followed by the sport.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news and starting off with soccer news. News from the Champions League, UEFA Champions League. The big news there is Tottenham Hotspur out of the tournament, out in the round of 16. They drew 0-0 against AC Milan at home, and that was AC Milan that's going through to the quarterfinals because of an aggregate win of 1-0. Not good news for Tottenham Hotspur coach Antonio Conte. He's under pressure. He's already battling to qualify for the Champions League for next season, and he's been the coach for 16 months, and there's more speculation now that he will not renew his contract when it ends at the end of this season. Also difficult for Tottenham Hotspur to keep on to one of their star players, Harry Kane. He's in demand for many of the top players, top teams that play in the Champions League next year, and so it's possible that Harry Kane might also consider to leave the club. In the other game played, it was Bayern Munich. They cruised past PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, and that was to win 2-0 at home on the aggregate of 3-0. They could also go through to the quarterfinals, and it was a star-studded attack of PSG, Kylian Mbappe of France, and then also Lionel Messi, but not good enough for them. They still lost to Bayern Munich by 2-0. On to cricket news. It's India playing against Australia in the fourth test, important test for India. If they can win this test match that's played in India, they will qualify for the ICC test match final. Australia already qualified for that final. It's Australia that won the toss. They decided to bat first. That is in India, like I said. It's in Ahmedabad, where the game is played, and it is after 90 overs, Australia 255 for 4. They batted quite slowly, but they didn't lose many wickets. Usman Khawaja 104 not out. Also, it is Sri Lanka that's playing against New Zealand. If India don't win against Australia, they can, with a series win against New Zealand, go through to the final. They're playing in New Zealand, so they're playing at Christchurch. They lost the toss, and they needed to bat first. A good first day for them, 305 for the loss of 6 wickets. That test is played in Christchurch. And continuing international sports news with tennis news, it's the Indian Wells Masters tennis tournament being played at the moment in California. Both the men and women play in the tournament. Firstly, the women, the WTA Tour, it is still the round of 128. Not many of the top seeds playing in the round of 128. It is Jill Teichmann of Switzerland. She beat Ashley Kruger of the USA by 6-1 and 6-4. Then also Shelby Rogers of the USA beat countryman Katie Volenitz by 4-6, 6-4 and 6-1. On the men's side, on the ATP Tour, also in the Indian Wells Masters, it is Gilles Monfils of France. He's out in the first round, well-known player from France. He lost to Jordan Thompson of Australia by 6-3 and 6-1. And then also Diego Schwartzman of Argentina beat his countryman, that's Federico Costa, by 6-1 and 6-2. To close off today's international sports news, cycling news, Paris-Nice cycle tour that continues. It was stage 4, and it is Stages Pogacar that established himself as a big favourite to win. He won the stage 4 quite comfortably, and it was in second place David Gaudet of France, and then it was Gino Madev. He was in third place. Actually, not as comfortable. He won by just 1 second over Gaudet, but comfortable to the rest of the field. Madev 34 seconds behind Pogacar in third position. In the general classification, it is Pogacar that leads a combined time of 11 hours 55 minutes. It is now David Gaudet with his second place 10 seconds behind him, and it is Jonas Vingegaard 44 seconds behind him after finishing 6th in stage 4. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. Let's head into the headlines. Tens of thousands flee Somaliland into drought-hit Ethiopia. Brazil to resume visa requirements for US, Japan, Australia and Canada. Cyclone Freddy on its way back to Mozambique and will bypass South Africa. Kenya freezes milk powder importation amid drought. Those have been our stories.
Thank you very much for watching our show this morning. We are wishing you a very blessed weekend. Be love and share love.